Yo, we are so close to the end of the Simple series, it actually scares me a little. I have only 2 videos, just 2, left planned for this series, and one of those 2 is this video. Anyway, today I'll be looking at the Simple series on PSP, also known as the Simple 2500 series. The series had a total of 13 games in it, and that is the reason why I will be looking at all 13 is because it's only 13 games. You have to excuse me, I'm actually pretty sick today, so because, 13 is an easy number of games to deal with, I thought I'd look at all 13 games. So, I'll be also having a look at one bonus game at the end, as there is another Simple series on the PSP, but it only has like 3 volumes, and only the very final volume is anything of interest, so yeah, we'll have a look at that as well. Surprisingly, the Simple 2500 series has quite a variety when it comes to the games it's got for it, and it was actually a treat to play them all. Yeah, it was a treat. Yeah, I do like variety, so let's dive right into it. First up is Volume 1, and it's the type of game you always expect to see at the beginning of these Simple Series collections. The Table Game, a port of the PlayStation 2 table game. Well, maybe kinda. It doesn't have the story, and it's just the games, just how I like it. So this is developed by Yuki Enterprise, and it's pretty much the standard of what you come to expect when it comes to the first volume of the Simple Series, of any Simple Series. Whether it's normally either the Mahjong or it's the table game. In this case, it's a table game, and it's actually pretty good. It's not too bad. It plays just like the other table games I've played, the other ports or whatever. And like I said, there's no story here. It's just the games, and I'm completely fine with that. I personally think it's a really cool game to have portably. You've got Mahjong, you got Hanafuda, you got Reversi, you got just standard poker and other card games. It's pretty decent, and when you're on a long car journey, if you're like a kid and you're on a long car journey, or I don't know, you're a businessman on the train going to work, this is a good pastime to play on the PSP. So yeah, it's not too bad of a game. There you go. Next up is Volume 2, The Tennis, also known as Super Pocket Tennis in Europe. Yes, it got localized. Developed by Unou. And probably the tennis game with the most weird character names I've ever seen. Like, look at these character names. I'm going to go through and let you just look at all these character names for all of these characters. Because they're a bit strange. Like Audio from Argentina. You ever heard of a bloke called Audio from Argentina? I don't think so. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit right there. And it gets weirder. It gets weirder, right? It gets really weird. Sugihara Hanchan, I don't think that's the kind of name I expect from a girl from Slovakia. But then you got Riho Futaba, because of course she has to be here. From Russia, of all places. I have no clue what was going through their minds when they named these characters. Let's just have a reference to an older series by calling a character Riho Futaba. Let's do that. But then, Queen, yeah, Anders, yeah, that's fine. Tororova, that makes sense. Sarika. But then you got the final character, the final boss, Heliport. What motherfucker's called Heliport? That's a fucking place to land helicopters. Fuck you. No, there's no fucking girl called Heliport here. So, strange names aside, I had to go through and let you see all of them because I think it was necessary for you to see all of the names of the characters here. It's just a functional tennis game. The controls are fine. I have no issue with the controls. They play exactly as you would expect from a standard tennis game. Besides the very questionable names for the playable characters, it's just a standard tennis game. Yeah, some fun mini games you can play as well to help improve your swing. I don't know, whatever. Which are okay. They're fun. I think it's an okay tennis game for the PSP, but the PSP did have better tennis games like Everybody's Tennis from the creators of Everybody's Golf, and Virtua Tennis Free. That was there's two better tennis games for the PSP than this. So yeah. Next up, we have Volume 3, the Dokodemo Suiri. Full title, the Dokodemo Suiri IT Tantei Zen 68 no Jikenbo. Yeah, you might be familiar with this game. You might have seen it somewhere before on my channel. That's because it's related to the Simple 1500 series game by the same name. That one's called the Suiri. So this game is developed by Tomcat System. It's a visual novel game about solving cases as a detective while having an anime computer assistant and cat. The one I'm playing as, I think the detective is like a schoolgirl. Strange, I know, but whatever. But the game itself is actually a compilation of previous Suiri games. For example, just like I said with the Simple 1500 series game I played. There's also was 2 on the Simple 2000 series on the PlayStation 2. And it has all 3 of those games, plus a new game, which is this. Which, from what I can tell, just based on this case, I think it's just maybe a remake of the first game. I don't know, but whatever. It's got 4 different stories you can play, is what I'm saying. Which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little compilation. But like I said, because it's a visual novel, you don't understand a word it's saying, and unfortunately you have to understand Japanese to progress, because like here I'm stuck in a question loop. I don't know what to do. Keep pressing random options and I ain't going anywhere. So I think, yeah, it's required for you to understand Japanese if you actually want to progress in this game. Yeah. Next up is Volume 4, the Unou Drill. Full title, Kodama, Mitsuo, Sensei, Kanshuu, the Unou Drill. Developed by Lux, a company I've never heard of before. And all you got to really know about this game is that it's a quiz game that requires you to know Japanese. Yeah, it's one of those quiz games. I think it's some sort of IQ testing game or something, because I see IQ written all over the place for this, so on the main menu and shit. Maybe not. Some of these questions I could actually do, because I could kind of get a gist of what it wanted from me, so I was able to answer. And yeah, surprisingly, I got a fair amount of them correct. I got like 40%, which is pretty good for someone who doesn't even speak Japanese. So yeah, but that's all I got to say about it. It's a quiz game that requires you to know Japanese. There you go. Next up we have Volume 5, the Bloc Kuzushi, because of course we have to have a Bloc Kuzushi game in here. Beta Bloc is what it's called in the West, and yeah, it got localized for whatever reason. Look at this. You can probably tell just from this gameplay, you have to play it on its side, which is already annoying, especially in an emulator, but whatever. The full title of this game is the Bloc Kuzushi Quest Dragon Kingdom, like anyone fucking cares. Developed by Tamsoft, and yeah, like I said, you have to play this game vertically, which so you have to turn the PSP on the side to play it. It's very awkward in the emulator, and I imagine it would have been just as awkward on the PSP playing it with original hardware. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. You know, the only reason why I would personally think you would turn your PSP on its side is to read a fucking book, you know, like a e-book or something, but not to play a game. But yeah, it's basically just Breakout with a stupid fucking story that no one cares about, basically. Yeah, a Bloc Kuzushi game with a story. That's it. It's pretty boring. I thought it was quite boring, as I do with all of these fucking Bloc Kuzushi games. It just plays like a standard Bloc Kuzushi game. You know, you have a few different things here and there, but not enough to really give a fuck about. And there you go. Next up is Volume 6, the Sensha, or the Tank. I told you I'm sick. I told you. I'm losing it. I'm losing it already. Developed by Viet et Systems. Basically the same as Seek and Destroy on the PlayStation 2, a simple 2000 series game. Yeah, you remember me playing Seek and Destroy? It's basically the same game, but on the PlayStation Portable. Just with worse controls, because the PSP's controls are not a good fit for this game. That's in my opinion. It does not fit well. You know, you're having to use, like, it's not like with the PlayStation 2 where you got one analog stick on the right and one on the left. You got basically the analog stick on the right and the D-pad above. That's what you have. So you have to end up like to move and aim at the same time. You have to put both thumbs on one side of the fucking controller. It's stupid. It's fucking stupid. But yeah, it's a tank battle game. You got a mission, go destroy these tanks, and you go and destroy them. It's not exactly difficult. blah, yada yada yada, it's a tank game, boring. Next up we have Volume 7, the Dokodemo Kanji Quiz Challenge Kanji Kentei 2006! A quiz game where you are required to know Japanese about knowing kanji. Yeah, basically it'll give you a sentence. I know, I'm guessing it's asking you what's wrong with this sentence. Is it this kanji that's supposed to be used, or this kanji? And obviously, yeah, I don't speak Japanese, and yeah, you can't play this unless you understand Japanese. Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's literally it. I'm not going to say any more about it, because that's all it is. Next up is Volume 8, the Dokodemo Gal Mahjong. Now look, Riho Fudaba's back. What a surprise, right? And they're all jiggle physics, bikinis, blah blah blah, of course. So, this is pretty much a dating sim with Mahjong, and I'm not joking, that's what this is. It's just a dating sim. Basically, you play Mahjong with these 3 girls, and while you're playing Mahjong, they may talk to you, and if you answer correctly, the love feeling will go up. If you answer incorrectly, it will go down. If you win a round of Mahjong, it goes up, you know, stuff like that. It's a bit awkward, this perspective, but I think this is meant to be solely so that you can look at the girl and just look at the boobs just jiggle around. It's just fucking stupid. Imagine that's the whole point of this point of view. But you can view the board if you need to. So yeah, here's one of those questions, for example. It's pretty basic. I'd rather just play standard Mahjong, if I'll be honest. This is just completely unnecessary. But yeah, this whole entire game is basically you playing Mahjong while looking at girls and watching the jiggle physics go wild, because they don't really make much sense in this game. They're just like, she's not even doing anything. She's just kind of just swaying a little bit back and forth, and they're just going, as you can see, wild. So stupid. Anyway, that's it. Next is Volume 9, the My Taxi. Basically a port of Taxi Rider, or the Taxi, from the Simple 2000 series, one I can see. You go around picking people up and dropping them off. The essence of what you could possibly say is a taxi game. And that's the whole game, pretty much. You can customize your taxi to make it look ridiculous. At least that's what the cover of the game makes me believe, in the back of the box. The controls are a bit stiff, but they're serviceable. You know, I'd rather take a stiff controls over janky controls any day of the week, if I'll be honest. The sound the taxi makes is a bit ridiculous. It sounds like you're driving around a Skyline or something similar, and it's just a taxi. And as you can probably tell with this gameplay, the render distance is a bit rubbish, but it's the PSP, you know, what exactly should I expect walking in? So yeah, all I've got to say is this, you know, it's not too bad of a taxi game, but basically it is just a port of Taxi Rider from the PlayStation 2 to the PSP. You know, it's too bad these types of games don't really exist anymore, you know, like Crazy Taxi or something similar, because I'd be down for that. That'd definitely be a really cool jam right there. But it is what it is. There's a lot of potential here, and the modern market doesn't seem to service it, so yeah. But yeah, the Taxi, My Taxi, not too bad. Next up we have Volume 10, the IQ Cube Moyato Atama or Puzzle di Sukuri. Also known as Cube, 3D Puzzle Mayhem in Europe and just simply Cube in America. It's a puzzle game where you move around a cube, having to collect keys and other shite, I think. Whatever. But yeah, so this is developed by Meteor Interactive. This is the only game developed by Meteor Interactive, surprisingly. And yeah, like I said, it's a puzzle game where you control a cube and have to collect keys and get through hazards to get to the finish. It's okay, you know, it's not really my type of game, but you know, I can understand why, you know, this would be quite a cool game portably. You know, a lot of people, I can see why they might enjoy something like this, but yeah, not really my thing. Next up we have Volume 11, the Puzzle Quest, Agria no Kishi, also known as Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords in the West. And it seems to be this game is quite a popular one. This game got ported to so many different systems, including the DS, PC, just to name, just to name some. So this game is developed by a company called Vicious Cycle, and it's basically a puzzle matching game with a story. Not really my thing, but I can understand why people could like it. So yeah, you get to pick a character. I picked this girl called Kelly Tonia, whatever her name is, and yeah, basically you move around things to match them up, 3 of a kind, something along those lines. You know, yeah, its story has RPG elements, like you can like gain gold, buy weapons to increase to something or other. You can do quests in this game as well. Yeah, it's strange how you have like a RPG puzzle matching game, but whatever. If that sounds right up your alley, then this game might be right up your alley. For me, I'm not really into the whole puzzle matching gameplay, unless it's really fast-paced, like Poi Poi or something. Poi Poi? You want Poi Poi? What am I thinking of? Puzzle Bob or something like that. Poi Poi, yeah, I think it's Poi Poi. I don't know. Next up is Volume 12, Ahohei 2, Senkyu yo Saki ni Ike. Developed by Tamsoft and sequel to Covert Command, a simple 2000 PS2 game, it plays like a shitty Metal Gear Solid. You have basically you create a character, you pick your commanding officer, general, whatever. In this case, I picked the female option because the male option is the same one from the first game. I thought it'd be more interesting, and then you get thrown into the missions. And yeah, it plays like dog shit. It honestly does. The controls are horrible. They are horrible. Basically, the game is sneak about and kill enemies, but the enemies detect you like instantly. Like I said, the controls are horrible. The aiming is horrible. The button used to crouch and prone are the same, so your character doesn't know what you want when you click that button. Like when you want to go prone, it'll crouch instead of going prone, and then you press the button again and it'll stand up, and you're like, I just want to go prone. It's so stupid. Just have one button to do crouching, one button to do proning. It'd be much, much easier. But then again, why make it easier? You know, this game I think is meant to be terrible. Look at it. So yeah, it's an all-round terrible game. The only way I was able to actually kill enemies without really taking much damage and complete the first mission was by glitching into the sandbags where the enemies can't shoot me, going into the aim mode and shooting them through the sandbags. The fact that I have to do that to get through the first level is atrocious. Also, right, I've got a fucking AK here, and you're telling me I don't have enough, I'm not close enough to hit this bloke here? Are you kidding me? Fuck you, game. Just honestly, fuck you. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna play anymore. You know, this is just an all-around terrible game. Just don't play it. Don't ever play it if you can help it. Because I would say the exact same thing with Covert Command. Don't ever play it. Just don't ever play it. Next up is Volume 13, the Akuma Hunters, Exo Sister Bungaloo. Developed by Tamsoft. Terrible 3D beat 'em up where you play as nuns or something. I don't know. Something like that. Controls are horrible. The horror is just atrocious. We're talking like original Onichibara controls, which again, like I said, were terrible back then, and they're still terrible now. Imagine doing those controls with the PSP's control scheme. Yeah, basically, fuck yourself. I think the game should be called. Yeah, you can lock onto the enemies, which again, the original Onichibara game didn't have. I'm going to compare it to that because again, same developer and it's a 3D beat 'em up. But at least the lock-on in the later games was consistent. The lock-on here just goes wherever it likes. It basically locks on to the enemy that's closest to you, not the enemy you're looking at, which is just stupid. But whatever, you know, whatever. The enemies also have 2 health bars. They have like, I guess, what, I don't know, endurance bar, which is green, and then they have their actual health bar, which is red. And it took me way too long to figure out how to damage their real health bar. It's stupid. Why do the enemies have 2 health bars? It makes no sense. It's completely unnecessary. So yeah, I didn't even get out the first room with the first 3 enemies because I fucking died. Simply because of this reason. It took me so long to figure out how to actually damage the enemies. How incompetent of a game do you have to create where... I couldn't figure out that I had to do a specific move while the enemy was down in order to damage them. It's retarded. It's just so stupid. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, terrible game. Don't play it. Next up, we have a bonus game known as the Simple 2000 Portable Series, Volume 3, the Honto ni Atama o Sukao Action Deadhead Fred, or simply Deadhead Fred as it's known in the West. Developed by Vicious Cycle, the same people that developed the Puzzle Quest game, believe it or not. This is a really, really cool 3D beat-em-up where you play as a private investigator who got whacked and dumped by what looks like the Mafia, gets resurrected by a mad scientist as a brain in a jar attached to Fred's original body. And obviously Fred being the character you play as. It's actually great. I love it. The voice acting's really good. I like the character models. You know, very, very kind of cartoony. But then again, that's fine with a PSP. The graphics aren't particularly great. Yeah, I was really surprised by this. But then again, you know, I don't think this was intended to be originally a simple series game. And I had to talk about this game just because how interesting it looked from just the front cover and the back, and how it talked about itself. It was quite good. So basically, you go around these linear levels, beating up zombos or some other, I don't know what they're called. I can't remember what the game called them. And you gain heads from enemies and stuff that you defeat. Yeah, you gain heads. And those heads you can swap. You can take off your original head in a jar, swap it with another enemy's head, and you'll get different abilities. For example, here, this enemy is setting fire to the place, which puts it into lockdown. But if you kill the enemy, take his head, and put his head on, he can actually suck up the water from the fish tank, which is over in the corner. And you use that to then put out the fires. He also has a completely different moveset as well. And I would like to also mention that the controls are fairly responsive here. They're actually decent beat-em-up controls. The enemies even try to block you as well. You got to try to like wait for an opportune moment to attack back. Yeah, much better than fucking Akuma hunters, honestly. But yeah, overall, really cool concept. Controls are very good, very responsive. And it's excellent world building and voice work. The game could honestly do with a remaster or a remake. I think it is that good, you know. Even if the experience ends up being about 6 to 7 hours long, I don't know. Let's just say it's probably about that long, the actual story. I wouldn't have an issue with that. It's just the gameplay alone is a lot of fun. The beat 'em up's a lot of fun. The story seems like a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely could do with like a remaster or a remake or something. So you know what to do, D3 publisher. You're doing it with Onichibara, you know, Deadhead Fred next, please, yeah. And there we go. We have finished all of them. All of the Simple 2500 series games. All 13 of them. And we even had a bonus game at the end. Like I said, felt like I needed to talk about Deadhead Fred. Simply because it seemed really interesting. The other two games that the Simple 2000 Portable series had, well, that's volumes 1 and 2, are like the Mahjong and the Shogi. Like, why would I want to talk about them? Talk about enough of those fucking type of games. And you already have the table game from the Simple 2500 series, which has both of those in there. Why release them separately as well? It's just, so stupid, but whatever. But yeah, I actually had some fun playing these games. You know, even though I had some bad experiences here and there, at least there was a lot of variety. And as long as you keep the variety there, it keeps it interesting for me. So I do apologize for my attitude during this video. Again, I've got a splitting headache. I woke up feeling absolutely horrid today, but still had to record a video, so it is what it is. Either way, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.